We want to future-proof your career. We want to build resiliency. If you are in an part of a company or an enterprise where the rumor mill is hot on fire, then you want to be able to sit back and join us as we go ahead and provide you some strategies to equip you. Like, these are going to be things that I wish I knew that nobody else tells me. So this is your Career Lifeline webinar. Our theme for Launch Your Influence is opening the right doors in 2024. Last year, our theme was we're going to bet on me in 2023, and we're continuing that so we can open the right doors in 2024. Part of those doors may not be physical. Part of those doors are going to be something that is not in the natural, but it is a mindset. What keys are we going to give you to shift your mindset? What keys are we going to equip you so you can move forward confidently, not in fear? Let me say that again, not in fear, but with confidence and clarity on things that you can control. We understand life happens. There are a lot of things that we do not control. And so we're not going to dwell on those things that we can't control. We will take those as information and as data, but we're going to move forward with giving you some tools that I know has made my life a success when I had to go through this. And so I hope that it's the same thing with you. All right. So your theme, we're hoping that you have a theme for your life for this year. We want you to make sure that life isn't happening to you, but you're happening to it. And so even though this is a career segment, part of what we do is we consult on career and personal development. So we do a marriage. So you are in the right place. If you want to reflect on personal and professional growth, if you're motivated to be intentional to achieve your goals for this year, you are in the right place. So this is a glance of what we're going to discuss today. I'm not sure if we have the wellness check, but we're going to go through it. And what is the wellness check? So we will talk about that when we come to it, but we realize that as focusing on your career, understanding the elements of where you are and what is your mental state is very important. So we have committed that every engagement that we have going live, we are going to make sure that we put a segment and dedicate some time and information into wellness. All right. Oh, I didn't realize I wasn't sharing my screen. So hello, everybody. This is Trisha Vincent, and we're going over the webinar, the agenda. So we're going to discuss a wellness check, our pre-transition, what is going to be, we're going to come up with a high-level plan of what you can do now when you're hearing certain things, but it isn't officially made. What can you do when the official announcement possibly does occur? And what can you do post-transition when that has already happened, or you are now on your road of what do you do next, right? So then we're going to go ahead and discuss getting you on the right path. What are some things that you can do to activate your network? All right. And then launch your influence. Let's see. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me know in the chat if this is you. Let's see. I hope I can see the chat. Yes. You want to invest in your future success. You want to gain invaluable insights and strategies to advance your career. You want practical. So this is it. I've been on a lot of webinars, and they tell me everything that I'm feeling, but I need the steps. We're going to give you practical, actionable advice that you can immediately implement. Everybody say immediately. You can immediately implement. So we are really excited about that. If that is you, you're in the right place. And I keep on clicking the wrong one. All right, so just a little bit about me. My name is Trisha Simone Vincent. I help professionals boost their marketing presence. And so we are really good at identifying people's value that they've contributed while creating and providing them with a brand identity, and then actually creating a brand voice for it to complement that brand identity. So we enable you to confidently present yourself to the respective industries that you represent. And so we've worked with individuals in healthcare, in IT, in energy, faith-based organizations, financial organizations, nonprofit organizations. I currently also am a corporate fellow for the University of Houston downtown, working with MBA students specifically on project management and agile framework. So I'm always helping people to go ahead and discover their talents, their capabilities, and helping them launch to their next best level. That is what I do. That is who I am. Today is to capture actionable steps that you can execute so you can open the right doors in 2024. On the previous slide, it was talking about lessons learned. One of the things that we have learned, which is consistent, I've been doing this for the last 4 years, specifically working with clients and coaching in career. And one of the things that is prevalent, especially for those that are high performing achievers and those that are on the executive track, is we have a goal that we set, and it is difficult for us if we do not make that goal. All right. If we don't make that goal, all the tiny triumphs that we've had, all those treasure steps that we have accomplished sometimes goes in the wind. And so I want to challenge that if there's anybody on the line that can relate to that, because that was me. I didn't make the goal. I would beat myself up about it. And then I realized, especially going on a job search journey, I need to celebrate every accomplishment, every achievement, no matter how small and insignificant it is progress. And so that was a mindset shift for myself, I know, and that is, and actually for 2024, one of the goals that I have set for myself that we talked about in a previous webinar is I am giving myself permission to fail, and I limit that, I quantify it to say, okay, if I don't make it, if I'm not successful, I'm not going to beat myself up because I'm giving myself 7 other chances. After the 7th chance, we can have a discussion. But by that time, by the 3rd, 4th, or 5th chance, I'm like, my mindset is like, okay, how can we do this? It's a different perspective. So I offer that to you as a lessons learned for Q2, going into Q3, as we have 1 more month left for the Q2 season of 2024. That also is one of my goals for everyone, is to make sure that you start capturing and identifying what are your areas of achievements and accomplishments, and making note of those and celebrating it. All right. So celebration is very key of those things. So we're going to reset. All right. However, let's get started on the strategic transition. I'm really excited about this information, so let's get started. The number one thing that we have to have in our transition plan, we're going to go over pre-transitions. Trish, what is pre-transition plans? So the pre-transition plans are activities that you actually can do before that announcement is official. We kind of mentioned it earlier. So you want to be able to assess your PTO, first thing on the docket. This is a lot of things that we leave on the table, our vacation time. But if your company honors PTO, it's time for you to assess that. There's a study here that it's an article on LinkedIn, and it's an article on CSNBC, and I think it was an op-ed actually, but it was talking about how 78% of workers do not take their PTO. So in this environment where you're hearing things on the ground, whether it's legitimate or not, you know what? It doesn't hurt for me to take a day to assess where I am. Where's my vacation? How many hours do I have to accrue for this month if your company is on the accruement of hours, right? But you want to be able to do the due diligence for yourself, peace of mind. I would call those mental health days, right? And so whatever environment that you're going in, you want to be able to make sure that you can, and with integrity. I'm not telling you to steal hours from the company and go on vacation. No, I really want you to be able to leverage what you have today and carve out time to assess where that is. You're going to need a day for that. Yes, you will need a day dedicated to that, because once you start going down that little rabbit trail, it'll start running and you'll start identifying, oh, okay, if this is, I have this many hours, what else is on the calendar for the rest of the year? If I have vacation, if you are an executive, I have a client, and she's actually in the post transition. She's negotiating her severance. She's negotiating with the company. If you are in a position of executive C-suite, what have you, you want to be able to negotiate what you want and you leave for it. If you don't ask, you won't get it. So this is the time for you to plan while you have your thoughts. It's all around you. There's no pressure, because we don't know if the rumor mill is true or not, but it doesn't hurt for us to be to acknowledge. All right, the next one is own your own data. What does this mean? So when it's time to update your professional information, it's really critical for you to quantify your accomplishments. A lot of that you don't know off the top of your head, but what we have found is you have actually put some of that information into your performance reviews. Now, you want to make sure that you're not providing information that is proprietary information of the company, but this is data that you actually enabled while you working on these initiatives. This is you quantifying how you contributed value to that department. You want to leverage some of those terms, that the phrasing of it. You want to be able to speak to some of those things that you actually have rolled up, you've gotten reviewed, somebody's approved it, and it's actually your information, right? So one of the things that's very common for people after they leave is that they don't have their data. They don't know what they worked on. And it's really hard to move forward if you haven't accomplished that. All right, so own your own data. See if you can download your performance reviews. So watch out, there's some companies where that document is actually company property, so you can't download that to your personal laptop or devices. But the content of what you accomplished and achieved, that is what you can own. So if you need to extract information, go ahead and do that, all right, for future use. That'll put you in a very favorable position. Because one of the things that we ask that's required in today's environment of job searching is, I need to quantify what I achieved. I don't want to know what I did, but the outcome of it needs to be measurable. And a lot of times those outcomes are actually laid out for you very crystal clear on your annual performance review. All right, next, self-advocacy, build your network. While you are on the job, this is the time for you to connect more than ever. Schedule those coffee breaks. If you are in an environment where you're working 2 days at the office out of the week, then make sure that those 2 days are definitely utilized to your advantage of building your network, building key relationships, identifying those individuals that can actually enable your success, and that you could have as a recommendation on LinkedIn. That's a possibility, but you want to make sure that you are expanding your spheres of influence. And so half of that is all about relationships. How are you building those connections with those that work around you? And can that continue if the transition is formalized? These are relationships that can actually help you in the long run. It could be a win-win for both of you. So do not neglect the relationship factor. Do not neglect those individuals that can have advocacy in the company or outside of the company. They may be a little bit quiet and reserved in the company, but on their LinkedIn profile, you see that they're always speaking at different events, at different organizations. That is part of the connections that you want to build and foster. And actually, that could be yourself as well, that while you're establishing your network internally, you're building your network externally as well, which is where the sphere of influence comes in. All right, so we're going to go through our pre-job transition, okay? Our pre-job transition plan. So this is our career exploration. This is our checklist. We just talked about the networking proactively. These are additional things that you can do right now today if you're unable to be successful. So having a preemptive job transition plan, what we're doing is we're splitting it up pre, during, and post. All right. So there's some items that you can take note of. Networking proactively. We just talked about that. But you as an individual, this is a perfect time for you to start attending these events, connecting with colleagues, even former colleagues on LinkedIn. Start joining professional organizations that are aligned with your career trajectory. That's really critical. Developing in-demand skills. We are in the season where skills is running. We're in a skill-based environment. So you need to identify what your skills are. That needs to be reflected on your professional documentation. If you need to enroll in different courses, this is a perfect time for you. Companies are paying for this. Companies are investing on building the competency of their employees. Take advantage of it if you can. Seize it. Get as many information that you can, as many knowledge based skills that you can apply on the job. And then you want to do that, especially while you're working, because the next thing is it's one thing for me to have the certification, I got the training, but if I haven't been able to demonstrate that on my job, I'm still at a slight disadvantage. So you want to be able to get these skills in tow with your professional trajectory, and then see if you can demonstrate and apply that. That might be you volunteering to be a buddy on a project. That might be that you are shadowing somebody on some initiatives, which is above and beyond your 9-to-5 job. Yes, we're talking about being above and beyond and pre-transitions. What do I need to do to get this to follow me after I leave? All right. So with that, updating your resume and your portfolio, we talked about that. And then strengthening your financial security. So this is where when you took that day, that PTO day off, this is probably another line item to complement that. What does your emergency plan look like? What does your budget look like? What is some of the you want to reduce that, right? Reduce your financial stress and unknowns. And so start documenting those areas and exploring other streams of income, right? As another opportunity to alleviate any future stress. Okay, so now we're going to go during the transition. So it is formal. We are now formally in the, they have made the announcement. They said that, hey, that there is going to be, we're going to optimize the organization, resource optimization, or we're going to have to experience some layoffs. So if that is the case, if this is where you are, you want to understand what the severance policy is. I just had a conversation with a former colleague of mine, and he was like, he actually got an announcement that he was let go. And so by the end of this week, it'll be official. And so I was like, oh, okay. He's only been at the company 16 months. And so you can imagine, this is new. It just hit him. And so I said, well, what did they tell you? And he was like, well, they gave me a package. And I'm like, oh, okay. Me understanding that severance package, the rule of thumb is 2 weeks for every year that you work with them, right? Oh, dude got like 9 weeks, like 90 days. I was like, excuse me, you realize that the industry standard is 2 weeks for every year. And he was like, really? I was like, yes, the Lord has been good to you. Because there's a lot of companies that are trying to avoid that, avoid honoring severance or what have you. So when he found out that based off of what they had granted him, it took a lot of pressure off of him in the standpoint of, wow, I didn't realize how what position I really was in versus, oh, that's all I got, right? So understand the severance policy, understand what the industry standards is. If you need to negotiate, like I said, depending on your level within the company, you have opportunities to negotiate that. Know what your unemployment benefits are. So you want to research that. For every state, it is different. So as soon as they give you the information of what that date is that your package begins, you want to definitely start doing your unemployment benefits accordingly. And most companies will provide you that information. Your departure note announcement. So you want to draft a farewell announcement. Why do I want to do that? I don't even like half the people that I work with, just certain things that I've heard. Well, it's not like you don't like everybody. There's some individuals that you do have a relationship with. So based off of our previous slide, remember that network, you want to be able to end on a high note. You want to maintain your professionalism and your positivity, lasting impressions, because you never know whose path you're going to cross again. And so you want to end on a high note, right? Like if you can control that, please do. And so drafting a farewell message to your colleagues is a bittersweet experience, but for those that you do want to make connection with, you could do that privately or individually, but formally, yes, departure announcement is a positive thing, but you want to plan for that. All right, so now we are going into the post-job transition. Post-job transition. So what does that look like? Your post-job transition is you have your actions, your job search strategy, immediately 3 months. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let's see something real quick. Oh. We want to make sure that you have your timeline on your job strategy. Your job search strategy is going to be really key here, but you want to make sure that you have leveraged your network. We're going to talk about network, because that is actually going to be your silent advocates. Whoever's in your job, your line of influence, your sphere of influence. We do actually have some exercises where we have said these need to be part of your core. What does that look like, right? And so we want to make sure that if you have that, you're proactively pursuing some new opportunities and understanding what your job search strategy is. So you don't want to burn yourself out, right? And sometimes it's very common to do that. Is how do we make sure that we are not overdoing it? So these are times where your strategy, maybe it's a plan, maybe it's a time frame that you're putting things into place, but maybe that's something that you're planning for. Okay, let's see if I can get this out. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so my apologies on that. Let's see if we can reshare. Okay, here we go. So we talked about your job search strategy. The timeline on that is now. So like if you could start putting some things in place, again, your network, there's even on our site, we've got a job board that you can look to for online positions that you can readily assess to see what is in the market. And then of course, tailoring your resume and your employment deliverables as such. So you want to update that with everything, with all the training and certifications, and accomplishments that you have achieved, that needs to be reflected on your documentation. The next thing is post-transition. You want to be able to consider short-term projects. So maybe that's doing freelance work and activities. That's maybe it's you volunteering in an arena that is a development area where you are. So if there is you want to transition into a certain area that you don't have experience, then this is probably an ideal scenario for you. But the concept is is that you're very active and you're very relevant within the job market. Investing in your well-being, that never hurts. You want to continue investing in your well-being. We talked about that earlier, but self-care exercises. Some clients, I've sent out a meeting and scheduled it on their calendar that they need to get up and stretch, that they're not sitting in their chair for a full 60 minutes without moving. So we put those reminders for them just to promote activity and motion and movement. And so that helps to promote a little bit of, work-life balance is an oxymoron to me, but it does help for well-being, right? Having a healthy work lifestyle is important. So seeking the accompaniment of your friends, organizations, but just, ways that that you respond to on managing your stress and maintaining a positive outlook. Because it's a challenge. Sometimes you'll have days where it's up and days where it's down. But if you have a schedule, if you have a cycle of things that help disrupt that are in place, then that's an added plus. All right. Continuous learning. So post-job transition, we said continuous learning is definitely a plug. So being current with industry standards and developments. I recently was speaking last month at it was the Black Tech Symposium, but it's a platform for other tech STEM individuals to connect. And so those type of associations, organizations that you see coming up on your feed, on your social media, on LinkedIn, definitely go ahead and subscribe to those that are within your lane and purview of your career, because it'll open your ears to hear what is being said. A lot of things that you are receiving will actually probably get processed through you individually. And when it's time for you to begin interviewing, you're going to be interviewing from a position and posture of information, being informed, being relevant, being current in today's day and age. So taking your expertise of X plus years and bringing that through the time frame of, well, now if I could have done things differently, this is what I would have done. That's part of your lessons learned, right? So capturing what are your own lessons learned, and then being able to process on what you would have done differently and coming up with a use case for yourself, right? Because that is going to be a scenario that you can speak to very confidently, very assuredly during your interviews. All right. So that continuous learning is a never-ending cycle of always being in a position of learning. So if that means subscribing to certain magazines and news affiliations, Bloomberg is one that I subscribe to, the Harvard Business Review. I actually subscribe to, I don't know if you can see it. So getting this in print, I realize that some content that is in print isn't online, vice versa, but this is really good content information to understand how management is working. What is it? The HR, another HR review. I can't remember what the name of it, but there's a set of websites and links, Fortune magazine, Bloomberg, subscribing to the Bloomberg channel. These are things that I'm always around and I'm always listening to make sure that I have a pulse to the industry and how I can help my clients from various walks of life, right? So what is that for you? You definitely need to have a resource pool of information of who are the influencers, and those that are actually impacting your industry with ways of thinking, future thoughts, etc. The other post transition in terms of continuous learning, I would definitely start bombarding YouTube on AI. How is AI transforming your industry? Are you familiar? What is your AI preference? There's so many different tools. Is it Chat GPT? Is it Perplexity? Is it Claude? Is it Bard, now Gemini? There's so many different platforms. You need to be aware what resonates with you. Why does it resonate with you? Do you know how to engage with it? And do you know how to engage with it on your job? So that's something that we definitely want to put on your roadmap, because that's definitely a skill set that is needed, and an understanding. Like, I need to be able to comprehensively understand how to use it and how I can leverage it beyond the average person, because you're a professional in your industry, then you need to be on the pulse of taking it to the next level. I am assuming that you are a high performer. So then in that case, this is definitely something that you want to continue forward with, is understanding how you can leverage AI on your job. And Susie doesn't need to know that. Bob doesn't need to know that. This is going to be your secret ace in producing certain deliverables and outputs if you are currently on the job. If you are not and you're seeking a new position, then that is also some training that you can go through on building your own items and assistant to help you on your job search journey. We'll be talking more about that in next month. But I think that that will definitely help some of you to move the needle forward confidently. Post-job transition, LinkedIn DM. So this is something that we wanted to leave with you as a thank you. We know that engaging with people is really important, building your network to show that you still have some social skills. One of the things that was an output of COVID is the amount of inability for individuals not to be able to be social, on engaging other individuals, that they cold calling or presenting their best selves. It's a challenge. So what we've come up with is these are LinkedIn direct messages that you can use. These are LinkedIn direct messages that you can use for your clients on making sure that you can go ahead and engage them confidently, and it's not creepy, right? Like, okay, so do you want to compliment and offer help, industry insight requests, article resource recommendation, congratulation messages, this is a coffee chat. What is it that I could do today? You can start. So why do we want to do this? This is like a threefold benefit. Benefit number one is you're building your network, right? We said on the previous slide, you've got to build your network. That's a pre-transition activity. It's a during transition activity. It's a post-transition activity. You will never stop building your network. You will never stop expanding your spheres of influence. So we're giving you tools on how to do that. Number two, why is it necessary that I could do that? A man is not an island on its own. Elon Musk, whether you like the man or not, whether you respect what he does or not, the truth of the matter is, as influential as he is and as hated as he is, how is he successful to where he is today? It wasn't by himself. And guess what? It wasn't AI. He had to have a conversation with government leaders, with other CEOs, other CIOs, other technicians, other developers. We have to know how to work with each other. All right. So in the days of AI, in the time frame of artificial intelligence, I'm here to confidently remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that human intelligence is still reigning supreme. it is still needed. So if that's the case, I need to be able to showcase that people have are providing the evidence of my competency, of my professionalism, of my capability, and how I've enabled them to be successful, how I've enabled the company to be resourceful. They can speak to what I've delivered. So on your LinkedIn, point number 3, since a man is not an island all on its own, the number 3 benefit is you engaging someone on LinkedIn. You could probably ask for a recommendation. All right. So these recommendations will come in handy. These recommendations, and I've got 2 fields of thought here. I had a client, she's hilarious. She is a vice president and she's seeking another opportunity just to remain competitive, be on the edge. If it happens, it happens. But one of the things that another CEO was telling her was like, why do you have this recommendation here? Reference. It was a reference. And he was like, basically, you got your best friend telling me that you did a good job. How do I know that they're legit? And so on LinkedIn, it kind of removes that mystification from that other peers are networked to you and you can see who they are within their company. So the rabbit trail does flow within that. Now, true enough, we don't know if Susie's your best friend or not. That's always going to happen. But what that does is we know that you're not by yourself. You're not isolated. You do have relationships. And so we can see that. So the more that you can be present on LinkedIn, because some people hide behind it. I don't know if that's anybody on here. I used to be one of those individuals that would hide behind it. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to be the best kept secret that nobody knows about. If something happens on the company, then this is going to be the only thing that people will be able to know that I was contributing beforehand. So you want to seize that opportunity. And these little direct message notes are a great way for you to present yourself. You could use some of it, put some things together. You can edit that, audit it, what have you. We'll send this. This is part of the booklet, but we'll send this to you if you're on the call today. We'll definitely follow up with you on this. But because we have additional ones, right? These aren't the only ones, but this is just a subset of LinkedIn message templates that we wanted to give to you to showcase, 1, your expertise, 2, build your network, 3, be an advocate for you. You were self-advocate, you were being a self-advocate by sending this out, but then you can be actually engaging someone that can be an advocate on your behalf. Well, Trish, what does that mean? What that advocate has relationships. He or she their best friend that they worked with or they went to college with is the CEO, CIO, is an executive at another company that you can showcase your portfolio and connect with, right? It all starts somewhere, but it all starts with you advocating for yourself. And this is a safe way for you to advocate on a professional, respectable platform for people to go with. All right. Do we have any questions? I'll leave it open for a Q&A. Any questions that we have right now? I know that we've covered a lot going through some of the pre-transition activities, our post-transition activities, our during activities. There's a lot of things that you have that we're giving you that you could do right now. But if anything, I would definitely love to know what was like your number one. I think we said that the PTO, if you're at a company right now, you need to take advantage of your PTO and do a mental day for yourself and start planning. Don't wait until, just knock it out now, right? So the earlier that you can get at the head of the game and get a plan, the easier it can be for you. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So we have our career catalyst, where it's basically our portfolio on where we are packaging you to easily present yourself to the market confidently. We don't promise that you will get a job, but we do promise that your confidence will be elevated because somebody's going to respond to you. Definitely somebody is going to respond to you. Part of our formula is a two-part formula, and we now know that 12 weeks is probably the optimum for us to work with you and to help make sure that your digital presentation matches your physical presentation. So if you go on an interview on your virtual one, we have a coach that can, Coach Nicole, she can help make you sound as lovely as we have made you look digitally. That's a probably better way to do that. But that's another strategy that we have. It's another offering that we have. But this is just something that shouldn't be holding you back. How you present yourself is key. If there's any fear on, man, Trish, I want to move to the next level. I have a portfolio. Or I don't have a portfolio. Really, this is what we're presenting. I definitely need to control on how I need to move my best foot forward. We're here for you. If you do have a portfolio, we definitely have some retainer packages because we have recognized that our return clients are just as powerful as our first timers. And so once we make you look good, you definitely want to be consistent with that presence on the next job opportunity or your next training that you had, or, and then we're also adding new services and updates to those packages if you don't have them. All right. Any questions? Okay, so if there aren't any questions, let me just see if I can get you to scan this barcode. And if you can, let's see, this is our engagement survey. If you can just scan that and let's see, send it to, let us know what your thoughts and feedback are. We apologize for some of the technical difficulties that we had earlier today. But we are really excited on being able to provide some information. We will have a booklet, a workbook for today's session. If you want or are interested in the replay, we'll have that for $27 for a certain time frame that will make that available for you for the information. And but all of the checklists that we talked about will be readily for you. And then we will give you the 20 LinkedIn direct message notes and emails that you can provide to help you start engaging the workforce or your LinkedIn professional on your profile. All right. So it is 11:56. If we have no questions or comments or feedback, I've never had that happen before. Well, I hope that means I was very concise and clear. Thank you for joining us today. If you are, I know that we might have some people all over, but I'm in Houston, Texas, and we've just been having lovely weathers or tornadoes. I feel like I'm in Kansas. Never knew it. So yeah, please be safe wherever you are. Please hug your family and your loved ones. And we just pray for your professional success and give us some feedback on our engagement survey. And we will stay tuned for next month's monthly webinar. But this was our contribution to being able to speak to some of the challenges and the buzz that we're hearing in the industry, especially as inflation is not going anywhere and companies and M&As, mergers and acquisitions are increasing, which then means there's redundancy in roles. Where does that put you? Well, I think today's transition plans will be exactly what you need to help you move forward. All right. If there isn't anything else, we'll see you soon. God bless. Have an awesome day and take care. Oh, thank you, Reginald.
Hi, my name is Trisha Simone Vincent. Part of my purpose is activating people's self-esteem.
Hello, ladies. I'm Trish Vincent.
You are the chief visionary officer of your life. I don't want life to happen to me. I want to happen to it.
I need to fire myself. I need to move out of my way. I need someone else to help me to concisely articulate what my value is and contribution.
I've had clients at the highest levels dealing with imposter syndrome.
We help professionals, senior level management, leaders, executives to enhance and boost their executive brand and their marketing presence so that they can go ahead and saturate the job market. They need to know and own that they have the value, that all these years that they've been contributing to their company has not been for naught. They get a chance to walk away with that, and now they can own it and articulate that to the marketplace.
What Trisha allowed me to do, she was able to present back to me. I was reading it and I'm like, is this me? Is this what I did? It was transformative to be able to see that.
If the ideal job came knocking on your door for a job interview, are you ready? That's all I'm going to ask.
Are you frustrated that you have the answers but nobody else sees it? Are you frustrated that you're the best kept secret that nobody knows about? Are you tired of being hidden and you have all this value but you don't know how to articulate and you don't know how to present yourself? Well, if that is you, then I'm here to help you out. Visit us at launchurinfluence.com so we can work with you and your organization to make that happen.